So the purpose of this is for me to condense a lot of what I've learned in being in practice for 30 years. So there's no strings attached. Consider it as a gift to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share you some of the things that I found made the biggest difference in bringing my practice from being a lone wolf operating from my basement all alone to the current size of 60 to 70 employees. So all I'm going to share with you is some of the things that I thought were critical to the success that I've enjoyed over the last 30 years. So needless to say, you can't condense 30 years of learning into just a few minutes. So what I want to do is really concentrate on the things that had the biggest impact. And one of the things that I would suggest that you do is that you maybe pause the video and get yourself a paper and pen, and you may want to take some notes because I'm going to go through a lot of material in very little time. So the first thing that I think made the biggest impact in the way I operated was to learn to value build, that is to build properly. And one of the challenges we always have as an accountant, what do we charge for the services that we render? How do we put a price to that? What is the monetary value of everything that we render? So the first thing I had to learn to do was not charge by the hour. Because one of the mistakes we often think that we make is that we think people want to pay for the hours we put in. Clients don't care how much time we put into their file. What they're concerned about is what are they getting back in return. So what we need to do is to try and go into their minds and really figure out what exactly do they want and what is it worth in monetary value for what they're going to be getting. And I find that the best way to do that is to ask a lot of questions. So one of the mistakes we often make is we spend too much time talking and trying to sell ourselves, when in fact what you should do is just shut up. Listen to what they're saying, ask a lot of questions, and try to take in as much as they can about what their life is like. And once you've determined what their pain points are, how painful it is, that will give you tremendous insight as to what you can charge for the different services and for the solutions that they're looking for. So concentrate rather on them, what they want, what are their pains, and what solution you can bring forth to their pain, and then learn how to monetize that. The second thing that I think is really important in building a practice is marketing. Now, I define marketing maybe a little bit differently. I define marketing as being the ability to attract and retain clients. So one of the things that I think a lot of practitioners do, and I hear it all the time, they're going to say, well, I'm really, really busy, so we do no marketing at all. And I've seen even some practices that don't even have a website. And they keep saying, well, I've got plenty of business, so I don't need a website, I don't need to do marketing. In my opinion, everybody should always be doing marketing, even if you're overworked and you get too much work. And the purpose of that is that the longer the lineup outside your door looking for you as an accountant, the more you can feel free to raise up your prices, to be a little bit more picky about who you service and all of that. Because I think part of the problem that a lot of accountants have, they're kind of masochists. They just love beating themselves up. And they do it without even noticing that they're doing that. So for me, I like the flexibility that if a client didn't suit me or wasn't a match, I could easily recommend that they go elsewhere without fear, because I knew that there was a lineup outside waiting and wanting to hire me. And the other advantage of that is that the fear of increasing fees disappears. So if I've got 1,000 clients and I know there's 500 more who want to hire my services, the fear of increasing my fees by, say, 30% is non-existent, because I know darn well that even if I lose half of my clients, I've got another batch waiting to hire me. So marketing is something that you should do consistently. But the other part of marketing as well is to market to your own clients what you're doing for them, because that is where they will see that what you're charging is of more value. And we often make the mistake that the client knows the value that they're receiving. So you have to demonstrate to the client the value that they're getting from you. You've just seen the first 4 out of 17 tips. If you'd like to see the rest of the tips, click on the link below.